These are the notes for rotation, okay? So anytime you're in the video, please just stop and pause it and write down what you need to write down and pick it back up and just turn it back on, okay? So let's just fill in our vocabulary up here at the top. Rotation, which could be said rotate, rotating, rotated, means to turn in a circle. Just like the earth rotates on its axis. Earth rotates in a circle around the sun. Okay? Now, when we're rotating around in a circle, we have to go in either one of two directions. We either turn to the right or we're going to turn to the left. Clockwise means you're going to turn to the right, just like the hands on a clock. That's where the name comes from. The hands on the clock go around to the right, like this, around to the right, okay? Counterclockwise, the word counter means opposite. Counterclockwise means you're going to turn in the left direction. Okay? Now, we also have how much are we going to turn? So we're going to have to be told whether we're going to be turning to the right or to the left, clockwise or counterclockwise. But we also have to be told how much of a turn are we going to make. So we can make either a 90-degree rotation or a 180-degree rotation. Okay, so let's back up right here. A 90-degree rotation means I'm turning 1/4 of a circle. So it's like you think about a right angle, okay? So if this tape dispenser is my object, if I wanted to turn it 90 degrees, I'm going to make it 1/4 of a circle, just like that, okay? Now, 180 degrees is half of a circle, okay? Again, look at my tape dispenser. If I turn it halfway around, see the way you see it, halfway around, it's like I'm turning it upside down. That's a 180-degree turnaround. It's like as if you're facing somebody and then you turn your back to them, you made a 180-degree rotation. Okay? Now, what we're going to do in our problems to start with is we're going to be rotating 90 degrees clockwise. Now, of course, we're going to have to be told our original figure. We're going to have to be told the number of degrees we're going and in what direction we're going. Okay? So right here on my notes, the first thing I'm going to do is come over here and graph my triangle. So T is at 1, 1 right here. U is at 4, 1 right here. There's U. And W is at 4, 3 right there. And when I connect it, I see my little right triangle right here. Okay, that's the first part. And we got 2 more parts to go with this. All these transformations are done in 3 pieces. Okay, for us, first piece is to graph your original or your pre-image. Now, I'm going to rotate 90 degrees clockwise. That means I'm going to go 1/4 of a turn to the right. I am literally going to turn my paper. Okay, I'm going to grab my paper and I'm going to turn my paper going to the right till it's actually oriented like the landscape. Okay, let me put it back where I started. This is portrait. My paper's in portrait. I'm going to turn it and I'm going to lay it on its right side so that it's in landscape mode. Now, notice the position of my triangle changed when I turned my paper. This is my new location, okay? That's where it would be on the graph paper down here in quadrant 4 after I move it. So I'm going to go right here and I'm going to write a little bit sideways here for a second. But while I got it in this position, I'm going to write down all 3 of these ordered pairs as I see them now. Like T right here is now at 1, negative 1. So there's 1, negative 1. Okay? U right here is at 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Since I went down, it's negative, so it's going to be 1, negative 4. W right here is actually at 1, 2, 3, and then down 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's at positive 3, negative 4. Okay. Now, once I've identified my 3 new points, I got the third part left to do, which is to turn my paper back around and graph these 3 points right here. Okay, so T prime was at 1, negative 1, so it's going to go right there. U prime is at 1, negative 4, so 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 right here, and that's U prime. And W prime is at 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. And I'm going to connect it. Does it look like I took that triangle and I just kind of turned it over and set it on its other side? Yeah, it does. That's what 90-degree rotation means to do. And I'm finished. So 3 parts. Graph your original, turn your paper and find your new points, and then come back and put your new points in. Okay? Now let's try this one more time. Okay? Let's do number 2 down here. Number 2 is triangle DCB. So let's go ahead and graph DCB. D is at 2, negative 1, which is right here. C is at negative 2, negative 1, which is right here. And then B is at negative 1, negative 3, which is back left 1 and down 3, so it's right here. Now, make my triangle. Now, again, I'm rotating 90 degrees clockwise, so this means I'm going to the right, and the 90 degrees means I'm making 1/4 of a turn. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put my fingers down on my paper, and I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to lay my paper down on its right side. Okay, now I'm going to look at these new locations. Okay, so they did shift. Now, where is D at now? D is actually right here at negative 1, negative 2. So I'm going to write down negative 1, negative 2. C is now up here, and that's at negative 1, positive 2. I'm going to write that down, negative 1, positive 2. Okay, now B right here is at negative 1, 2, 3, and positive 1. So negative 3, positive 1, and I didn't make my 3 very good there. Sometimes it's hard to write sideways. Now, once I wrote that down, I can move it back, okay? I don't move it till I've written them down. Now, I'm going to go right here now, and I'm going to put these 3 points back onto my picture over here. So D prime is at negative 1, negative 2, which is right down there. Okay. C prime is at negative 1, positive 2, so that's left 1 up 2, and that was C prime. And then B prime was at negative 3, 1, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1 right here. And I'm going to connect them. And I see it's the same triangle. It's just turned up on its side. Again, it's just turned 1/4 of a turn. Okay. Now, the next 2 examples we're going to do is similar to this, but different. Because if I look at example 3, right here, I'm going to go 90 degrees, which is 1/4 of a turn, but counterclockwise means I'm going to the left. Okay, I'm going to go to the left. This time I have a quadrilateral, so let's graph this. A is at 1, 1. B is at 4, 1. C is at 4, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And D is at 1, 4, which is 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. Oh, it looks like a rectangle. And it was a quadrilateral because it had 4 points. Actually, I believe that's a square. Okay, we have a square here. Now, we're going to turn it 1/4 turn to the left. That means this time I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to put it in landscape, but I'm going to lay it on its left side. So I'm going to go to the left and lay it right there, just like that. Now, I got to shift around so I can write sideways here. Where is A at now? A is at -1, +1. See where it's at right there? So it's going to be -1, +1. B right here is now at -1, 1, 2, +4. So -1, +4. C is over here now, and it's at -1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's at -4, +4. D, down here in this bottom left corner, is at -1, 2, 3, 4, and +1. Now again, once I write those down, I can turn my paper back to the beginning. Okay, now I want to graph these 4 points over here. Okay, so I'm going to graph -1, 1, which is right here, and I'm going to label that A prime. B prime is at -1, 4, which is up here, and I'm going to label B prime. C prime is at -4, 4, so that's to the left 4 and up 4, and that's right there. And D prime is at -4, +1, so -4, +1 is D prime. And I'm going to connect them. And it's harder to see that rotation there. It really is, but it is rotated. I took it and just laid it over on its side. It's harder to see that square. Now, example 4. Okay, we're back to a line segment this time. Okay, doesn't have to be an actual polygon. So I'm going to grab line segment KM, and again, I'm going 90 degrees, so 1/4 of a turn, counterclockwise to the left. So let's go ahead and graph K, which is at -2, 3, so that's left 2, up 3. M is at 2, 1, so that's right 2, up 1. And we're going to connect those and make a line segment. Now, again, I'm going counterclockwise, so I'm going to turn my paper to the left, and I'm going to lay it on its left side, just like that. Now, I'm going to look at my new locations for K and M. K is now at -1, 2, 3, and -1, 2. So it's at -3, -2. Okay. M is now at -1, +2. Okay. And after I write those down, what do I need to do? I just need to turn my paper back around and graph those 2 points. So K prime is -3, -2, so let's write that in. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So there's K prime. M prime was at -1, 2, so -1, 2 right here. And I connect them. And you can kind of see that rotation. It's just literally like a fourth of the direction away. Now, our last example we're going to do is a little bit different because this one says rotate 180 degrees. Okay, what that means, I'm going to go half of a circle. I think about that as just being upside down. Okay, now notice it didn't tell me whether it was clockwise or counterclockwise. It doesn't matter. Okay, now I want you to think about this, upside down. If I go a half a circle to the left, I'm upside down. It's going to be exactly the same thing, put it back, as if I went half of a circle the other way. Doesn't matter, it's still half of a circle. Okay, you're going to end up in the same spot. Okay, so we've got triangle ADF here. Let's go ahead and graph it. A is at 4, 0, so 1, 2, 3, 4 right here, and that's A. D is at 3, 3, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 up here. And F is at 1, 1. Okay. Now, I'm going to rotate it a half a turn. Again, that means I'm going to turn my paper upside down. Okay, I'm going to turn it upside down. Now, I'm pretty good at writing upside down, but if you're not, then just grab a piece of scratch paper or something and jot down these numbers. And then when you turn your paper back around, you can write it in. So if I'm looking right here at A is now at 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative 4 is at negative 4, 1. So you can see if you can get as good as I am about writing upside down. Okay. D, which is right here, is now at negative 1, 2, 3, negative 1, 2, 3. So it's at negative 3, negative 3. Okay. F, which is right here, is actually at negative 1, negative 1. And again, if you have trouble writing it upside down, don't fret, don't stress. Grab you a piece of graph paper or something and just write it down here and then turn your paper back around and write it on there. Okay, so I'm going to turn my paper all the way back around to the original position and we're going to graph this now. A prime is at negative 4, 1. 1 right here. D prime is at negative 3, negative 3. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There it is, D prime. And F prime was at negative 1, negative 1, which is right there. Okay, and does it look like it's completely on the opposite side? It absolutely does. Okay, now after you finish copying your notes, you go to Canvas, find your assignment, and let's get her complete, get her done.